There are people among us who can make impossible things happen, and this compilation shows the most shocking ones of them all. From unbelievable physical skills to superhuman abilities, these people pushed limits beyond normal. This TikToker, Emily, is going viral for her creepy videos. Wait till you see it yourself. In the clip, her eyes suddenly transform until they look ghostly white, although it feels like she was possessed on camera. The truth might be different. She could have a rare ability that allows her to roll her eyes so far back that her irises disappear entirely. But that didn't explain how the irises were able to vanish so instantly. What are your thoughts on this? Super strength. There's strong. And then there's this guy. Look how effortlessly he was carrying that massive boulder on his shoulders. To give you an idea of how shocking this was, the heaviest stone ever lifted was around 630 pounds, and this boulder looked far heavier than that. This seemed like strength beyond human limits. Wall climber. Although this guy was in a tough spot, his wall climbing skills were absolutely unbelievable. It's really crazy how he was able to scale the wall like that. But even then, skill alone wasn't enough to save him. Rubber limbs. You really need to brace yourself for this one, because it's that unnerving. A guy in Los Angeles, California, was showing an incredibly creepy ability in the parking lot of a store. He was rolling on the ground, twisting his body at shocking angles, limbs bent like they were made of rubber. It almost seemed as if he didn't even have a spine. Now, I've seen plenty of videos of people bending in strange ways, but none of them were really this creepy. Invisibility made real. What this man was showing will stun you. A Canadian man held a piece of cloth that seemed like a real invisibility cloak. Just like that, he appeared completely invisible, as if you could see right through him. It was a mind-wrecking moment that felt impossible. And guess what? While researching more about this, I found a similar video which was just as shocking. This employee had claimed to create the first invisibility material and was demonstrating how it worked. Just like in the previous video, her body vanished completely too. According to the sources, she was showing a prototype of this material, and it seems this man somehow got his hands on one. Shocking levitation. This video will mess with your mind. The woman seemed to be levitating in the most impossible way. Now it could possibly be a trick, where one of her shoes was stuck to the wall. But even then, it would take immense core strength to maintain that posture in the air. To be honest, I am just as shocked as that man behind her. Real superhuman? This old video first appeared in 2011, and even after all these years, people keep sharing it because it feels impossible to understand. It showed a man crouching low in front of a car. Then, he lifted the entire car with his bare hands. It was not a small push either. He raised it over himself like it weighed absolutely nothing. Even when someone is really strong, it's still not possible to lift a car like that. So either this car was a prop, or he had real superhuman strength. However, we'll never find out the truth, because there's no other information about him on the internet. Meditating monk. Monks are just built differently, and this video proves it. In the mountains of northern Tibet, a monk named Tsering Dorje sat completely still in the snow. Even though he was completely covered in frost, he looked calm, relaxed, almost peaceful. He wasn't even wearing thick winter clothes at all, so it was just him against the freezing wind. This monk had spent decades mastering a deep form of meditation that let him push his body far beyond normal limits, so that's why he chose this icy cliffside to show just how much mental strength he had gained. Mental power. Looks like this man has unlocked a hidden power. He was staring intently at a simple piece of paper. As he was gesturing towards it with pure concentration, smoke began to rise from it as the paper heated up. That's when a hole slowly began to appear in it. It was really unbelievable how he had just done that without even touching it. Even the onlookers were in utter shock because they believed he had just used pure mental power to do the impossible. Supernatural strength. In this heart-pounding moment, a driver's car was stuck completely in snow. He even tried revving and rocking the car, but nothing was working for this. His time was running out because a train was approaching, and he had to get out of the ice fast. That's when help arrived in the most unexpected way. Another man walked up to his car, and just with his bare hands, he lifted it out of the ice. It was almost as if he had superhuman strength that helped the driver escape in time. Unbelievable push-ups. You must have seen plenty of crazy push-ups before, but nothing like this one. After watching this, even Bruce Lee would be speechless. Magical healing. This shocking moment happened right before everyone's eyes, but it's still unbelievable. In Africa, this woman had lived with a deformed arm her entire life, until she visited a tribe that claimed they could heal it in a few seconds. Watch this. When they prayed a strange liquid over her arm, her limb slowly began to shift and heal in real time. This truly defies all logic. Shocking strength. You have to see this to believe it. This man had ropes strapped to his back, hooked up to a full-size plane. As he pushed forward, the plane started moving. Every step he took pulled the plane forward along with him, showing strength that no ordinary human could have. The crowd around him was in total shock as they witnessed this sheer force. It's the kind of moment that makes you question what humans are truly capable of. Unbelievable levitation. The man claimed he discovered the secret to levitation. He was sitting cross-legged on the ground with a rod in his hand. Then he began to rise mysteriously. If he'd been pushing the rod down for support, even then, it wasn't possible for anyone to lift themselves up like that. And for anyone who thinks the rod was part of a trick, watch what happened next. He began waving the rod around to prove that nothing was holding him up.
Метроном. Абсолютно все.
Finally, he dropped the stick and ended the video, leaving the mystery unsolved. Odd hand. Nothing will prepare you for this moment. Magical moment. Now this one will really wreck your brain. Xavier Mortimer, who is known for sharing the most unbelievable magical videos, didn't disappoint with this clip. He approached a customer who was packing her lemons and transformed the moment into pure magic. Watch this. The lemons seemed to come alive, zooming around the store like an actual bird trying to escape. Then, just as shockingly, he made it fly into the basket and walked away like nothing strange had just happened. Watching this, the customers felt like the impossible had just happened right before their eyes. Growing powers. This guy has been trying to develop a power no one believed a human could ever achieve. In the early videos from 2020, he kept trying to control objects with his mental power and gestures alone, but nothing worked. He refused to quit, and as he kept training, the impossible finally became possible. It seemed like he had finally unlocked telekinesis. Years passed, and his power began to grow. Now he calls himself the Immortal Energy Master. And as he is actively sharing his progress online, we'll see how far his power will grow. Electric Man. And even set a Guinness World Record. Mind control. What would you do if someone made you forget your own name?
Your name's gone from your sight, it's gone from your mind. You can no longer remember your own name, it's just been wiped from your mind.
Well, that's exactly what this man did in this shocking video. He did a strange routine in front of this woman.
I want you to imagine I just took your name right out of your head. Can you see it here?
And moments later, she couldn't remember her name. Her expressions say it all. You can clearly see her struggling.
I'm Max. What's your name? The harder you search for it, the more impossible it becomes.
And it looked like he had wiped it clean from her memory. This guy was Max Major, known around the world as the Mind Hacker. And his control over the mind was terrifying, because after this, the woman had stayed unresponsive for 2 days. Shocking magician. Is this guy a real magician? In the video, he was able to balance the sticks and orbs in an unbelievable way. It looked like he was making them defy gravity itself. Things turned even stranger as the color of his eyes shifted, like they were revealing a not-so-human identity underneath. So could this really be actual magic at play? Elemental Master? Take a look at this one. This man was able to conjure all 4 elements straight from his fists. Even if it was just a trick, it was so flawlessly executed that even the person watching up close couldn't make sense of it.
You have the spirits, it's not magic, it's the spirits. You have the devil.
Incredible somersaults. If you think gravity is real, then watch this. The guy launched into the air and spun with incredible speed, like he was defying gravity. Gym sorcery. Weightlifting is one thing, but what you're about to see here feels like pure sorcery. This man walked into the gym and instead of placing the plates on the barbell like anyone else, he simply lifted his hands. And unbelievably, the plates floated up into the air. They seemed to respond to him, magically attaching to the barbell. The reactions of everyone behind him said it all. They must have thought they were hallucinating. Fingers sorcery. You could watch this on repeat and still have no clue how he did it. The man appeared to remove his fingers and reattach them back on his hands. Even with the camera zoomed in for a close-up view, the action seemed clear and convincing. And if this was a just trick, it was a very flawless one. Psychokinesis woman. This CCTV camera might have exposed a woman with superpowers. On the 23rd of July, 2011, when these friends were messing around in a cafe, they accidentally fell on a woman. That was a mistake, because crazy things began happening after that. The objects in front of the friends began moving on their own. If you watch her hand carefully, it's clear she was the one making them move. One of them got suspicious of her and tried to confront her, but that didn't end well. He was no match for her powers. Once she realized her powers were exposed, she ran out. No one saw her after that. Superpower sightings. In the late 1990s, some men went into a remote forest where people were said to have incredible strength. They saw a man lifting huge tree trunks, each 3 times his size, and carrying them easily. Soon, they found out that there was a whole group in the forest with the same power, but they didn't share those people's identity or the exact location of their discovery. Miracle moment. Watch this man turn the impossible into reality. The crowd held its breath as they watched him inch towards the water, waiting to see what would happen next. Then, it finally happened. Instead of sinking, he began to walk on water. Now, this could be a trick too, but even then, we can't really see any platform or support around him, which is really confusing. Spoon levitation.
Spoon.
You won't believe your eyes after seeing this one. The man held his hands over the spoon, clearly trying to do something mysterious. And then something unbelievable happened. The spoon slowly began to move and lift toward his hands. At the end of the video, he even held the spoon to show it was a normal one, and there were no magnets in his hands. So how do you think he did this? Money rain. This man managed to do what we could only dream of. Right before our eyes, he rolled up toilet paper, crumbled it up in a strange way, and suddenly money started to fall out of his hands. If only we could do this too.
Agora a metade é meu, que tu gastou ontem.
Levitating monk. In 2013, the famous magician Dan White had traveled to Nepal just because he wanted to meet a Buddhist monk. He wanted to learn true levitation, and that's exactly what the monk showed him.
How is he doing that? Are you guys seeing this?
The monk made arrangements for the ritual to channel his energy. Everyone held their breath as he began chanting, and the big moment that they've been waiting for finally happened. Slowly, his body lifted off the ground as if he was going against gravity itself. Dan and his team were totally speechless because this was the first time they'd seen true levitation. Ghostly eyes. Some people have the most terrifying skills. Imad, the famous magician, has always shocked people with his nerve-wrecking tricks. But this one might be his scariest yet. His eyes completely transformed, turning pure white like a ghost. The reaction of the man standing in front of him said it all, because that was truly bone-chilling.
Hey! Oh! Man! Hey!
Miracle walk. Here's a video so creepy, it's impossible to look away. When these fishermen were out in the sea, they were shocked to spot an actual person walking on water. From a distance, it really looked like he was taking steady steps across the surface. After looking closely, they noticed a strange piece of gear strapped to his back. That's when they thought that maybe he was walking on a submerged platform hidden underneath the waves, and the gear on his back was helping him maintain his balance. But since the sight was so unsettling, they didn't get too close to him to find out if it really was a trick or not. Powerful girl. This CCTV footage from Japan in 2011 captured something no one ever expected. The girl was walking down the street when she dropped something under a parked car. She crouched down to look for it and lifted the entire car with shocking ease. When she noticed that the item had rolled to the other side, she calmly walked over and pushed the car aside with unrealistic force. The creepiest part was that when the watchman reviewing this footage tried to identify her, he couldn't find any trace of the woman. Magic or trick?
Alright, knock it down.
As this guy was standing on the street with his hands out, pointing straight at a cardboard box, nobody knew what he was about to do. It looked strange at first, but keep watching, because things get really interesting. As he gestured toward the box, it suddenly toppled over like something unseen had pushed it. Was this real magic? Or just the wind at play? Comment down your thought below.
Yeah! Yeah!
Shocking telekinesis. We have seen some truly strange and confusing moments in this compilation so far, but nothing comes close to this one. In this old classroom footage, the students were sitting quietly when one woman raised her hand. That's when the phone on the desk suddenly slid across the table. It looked like she controlled it with her mind. The others looked at the phone with fear. Even the invigilator even picked it up to check what had caused it to move, but he found nothing. They didn't even suspect that woman. But months later, when this CCTV footage came out, they confronted that woman for answers, but she refused to admit anything. Limbo world record. Watch this woman set a really shocking world record. Shrishti Dharmendra Sharma, the Indian speed and limbo skating champion, has broken records that seem impossible. In the video, she was skating at full speed and slid under bars set just 30 centimeters above the ground. She stayed unbelievably low while gliding effortlessly, bending her body like it's made of rubber. It wasn't just the flexibility that was shocking, it was her ability to stay like that, at that speed and precision. To witness someone set a world record while staying that low is truly mind-blowing. Invisible bike. I would like to hear your theories about this one, because even I have no explanation for this. The video shows a woman moving through the streets of Texas as if she was riding a bicycle. Except, there was no bicycle anywhere in sight. She was pedaling in the air, and somehow, she kept moving forward like she was on an actual bike. For the past few weeks, this clip has been shared on so many platforms that I couldn't ignore it anymore. But I couldn't decide what was really happening here. So now it is up to you. Is there something supernatural going on here, or just clever editing? Rising Man. Do you think superhumans might walk among us? Well, this video might answer your question. Last year, at Haeundae Beach in Busan, South Korea, onlookers watched in shock as this man began to levitate, slowly lifting higher and higher. In the beginning, his hands were clasped. Then he spread them outward, as if drawing energy from around him. Despite performing such a dramatic display in public, the man revealed nothing about his identity. All that remains is the footage, which quickly went viral online. Creepy levitation. This doorbell cam footage captured something that would haunt this homeowner forever. Take a look. In Phoenix, Arizona, the neighbor was about to walk down the stairs, but the moment she reached the first step, her body slowly lifted into the air. She looked completely out of control, and it felt like she was helpless as she hung there. The homeowner refused to share what happened after that moment, but he did mention in the video's description that when he'd asked his neighbor about it the next day, she would not speak about it at all. Shocking lightning moment.
All right, it's raining, Thor. Come on.
Oh my god.
Do it.
Don't!
Come on.
Haley Khalil's videos are often quite entertaining, but this one was really shocking. She was walking out on a rainy night. When she decided to lift her arm, lightning struck in the sky at that exact moment. It almost seemed like she had summoned it herself. But if you think this was just good timing and not a power, then do share your thoughts in the comments below. Weightless horror. When a man in Mexico was walking past a park, he noticed something truly terrifying. A woman was rising into the air, like she was completely weightless. But this wasn't the type of levitation like monks are able to control. She looked helpless as she kept floating higher. Even when people tried to pull her down, nothing worked. The crowd that gathered around couldn't believe their eyes and kept recording, which made perfect sense, because it's not every day you witness something that defies all logic. Floating guy. The more you look at this video, the less sense will make. This guy stunned both customers and employees in a supermarket.
Do you know how he's doing that?
I think that... I don't know.
By floating in the air. He kept pushing the cart without dropping to the ground. The cart should have tipped over to one side under his weight, but that didn't happen either, which was just as strange as him floating. It seemed like he was breaking the laws of physics, and those watching him couldn't decide if this was real magic or a very clever trick. Library wizard. When a woman was studying at a library in Seoul, South Korea, she noticed something really unusual about this guy. He was reading a book, but he was turning the pages without touching them. It seemed like he could perform telekinesis because he was simply flicking his fingers at the pages. As the woman was recording him secretly, he sensed it and looked straight at the camera. Realizing he had caught her filming him, she stopped the recording at once. But the footage had already captured his strange wizard-like ability. Unbelievable talent. Some people have the most random yet craziest talents ever, just like this guy. Look at his untied shoelaces closely. He simply shook his foot around, and within a few seconds, his shoelaces were tied. He didn't even have to touch them at all. The man next to him felt the same disbelief that I had felt after watching this the first time. Did you find this shocking too? Unexplainable levitation. Now this one's so shocking, it will mess with your mind. The man was standing at a public pool when he suddenly began to levitate, rising slowly into the air in a way that made no logical sense at all. The moment looked unreal that it instantly went viral on the internet. That's when people all over the internet tried analyzing the video to figure out if there was any trick behind it. But since no one found anything that proved it was fake, this clip remains as one of the biggest mysteries on the internet. Creepy posture. What in the world is happening here? The woman was standing with her legs bent in the most unnerving way you've ever seen. What would you do if you saw this? Run away in fear? Or keep recording like this cameraman did? Shocking objects control. Here's one of the most mind-bending videos you'll ever see. This man could make objects hover in the air just with his gestures, without even touching them. The way he moved his hands above and below the items only made it more mysterious, because it clearly showed there were no strings attached to them, and the objects were truly defying all logic right before our eyes. Now it's time for the subscribers' pick for today. This video has gone viral with millions of views in a few days, and once you see it, you'll understand why. The woman in the clip had twisted all the way back at a full 180-degree. It looked really creepy, because spines aren't usually that flexible.
Okay,
But before you think this woman had a superhuman ability, here's the truth. She is Julia K. Barney, a famous content creator known for this eerie dance move. She has a shockingly flexible spine that twists more than it should, and time again she has shocked viewers with this insane and frightening ability. However, just because she can do it doesn't mean you should try this yourself.